Let's meet the Reverend Julia A. Fritts, Episcopal priest, neuro acupuncturist, and musician, with Julia today. As our Good News team, Deacons John Shematek and Lauren Welch, as we bring another episode in our second season of Good News, all about people making a difference in the world.
Reverend Julia A. Fritts, welcome to our podcast. We're delighted that you're here with us today.
Thank you so much, John and Lauren. It's a privilege to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited to get to learn more about you and get to know you better. You're brand new to us. This is your very first week starting your
Yes.
role at the Cathedral of the Incarnation in Baltimore as a associate priest there. But we know you have so many irons in the fire. You've got so much life experience, and you're actually bivocational and have a priestly ministry, but you also have work outside of the priesthood. We're curious about your various life experiences and skills come together. How are you seeing things?
I am a classical and neuro acupuncturist. That's a specialty area of acupuncture. I have a private practice that I do 2/3 of my time, and 1/3 of my time is with the cathedral. I'm thrilled to join the cathedral. I feel so happy and so welcomed and so at home. It was my sending parish 20 years ago when I went off to seminary. A lot of life has come and gone since then. I'm finally back in Maryland, thanks be to God, and I'm actually back at the cathedral. So I feel just a little bit stunned and just so glad.
Julia, how did your journey begin in all of this?
Mm.
Acupuncture, you also are a physical therapist,
Mhm.
now working as a priest. What
Mm.
what motivated you?
I've had to think a lot about that in my formation process. As a young child, I was one of four, the only girl, and was always expected to be the little artist and musician. That's how I was formed. Those were the expectations on me. It never occurred to me to study the sciences very hard, but I was interested in them. Life went on, and my mother suffered with MS and a burn incident. As I lived through her suffering and death, it changed me like those things will do. It really galvanized this longing to help wherever I saw suffering. I just wanted to be useful. My career as a musician was going on at the same time, and I recorded and traveled all over the country. One of our first recorded songs was #1 in Riga, Latvia. We did a lot musically, and I thought that was going to be my career, but it wasn't enough for me. And this need to help people who were suffering, I was drawn to become a physical therapist, in particular for neurological patients. No surprise, given my mom's neurological illness, that's where I was drawn to serve. I started at Hopkins, loved my work there. It was so formative, so wonderful. And then went on to become chief of rehab medicine at a hospital in Laurel. As any good PT does, they ruined their knees lifting people properly, and then they ruined their backs lifting people with bad knees. I realized I needed to rethink my career trajectory. I couldn't be lifting people anymore. So I discovered acupuncture. This occurred to me to be a deeper level. I could help on the levels of the body, the mind, and the spirit. I kept both licenses for quite some time. And then, with great fear and trepidation, dropped my PT license because it's very expensive to keep 2 licenses going, and forged ahead with acupuncture and built a thriving private practice specializing in neuro patients. It was around this time that I decided to explore this longing to serve at the deepest possible level, which for me meant serving Jesus and trying to follow him. He was a teacher and a healer, God incarnate. How can you follow that? But I could do my little bit to try to help at the deepest level of suffering. The discernment process went forward. I was ordained deacon in 2008 at the Cathedral by Bishop John Rabb. My first call was in Stamford, Connecticut, where I was ordained priest by Bishop Andrew White. Along the way, I was able to keep all my passions going, my musicianship work on a physical level, a spirit level, and a mental level. I found that all of my peculiar gifts had a use in my priestly ministry. I really hesitated, fought this sense of call to ordination because I felt I was too unusual. I don't look like a clergy person. I don't sound like one. I felt that the call was maybe just my imagination. I'm a drummer, a rock drummer, actually. The music we toured with was Celtic rock, and it was haunting and gorgeous. Fed my soul. My experience in the music industry could be used in the church. When my daughter was in Rite 13 and J2A at the Cathedral, I was helpful parents, and we decided to put on a coffee shop as their big fundraiser. And I put together a youth group band. We rehearsed, and some kids were learning instruments for the first time. I helped them learn about lighting, sound, and a little bit of stage orientation. We had the most wonderful time. And I was able to do that in my first call in Stamford, Connecticut, as well with the youth group there. Such a joy to have your whole self be useful in some odd way. I think that sums up the journey so far. I don't plan on any more master's degrees. 3 is plenty. Never say never, Mom. I'm going to call it.
At this point,
I think we're good with that.
It sounds like you have found that in all that you were doing, music, PT, acupuncture, you have found the spirit
Mm-hmm.
of those ministries,
Yes.
and you're able to combine them right now
Mm-hmm.
in what you're doing as a priest.
That's how it feels. And everywhere I've served, I actually just remembered in one of the churches I led in Oregon, I offered free drum lessons to the kids in the community, and that grew to be a tiny school of rock sort of thing. And that was great fun.
Julia, you remind me about the power of music as a healing
Mm.
source. People may not think about drumming in that way, but we do.
That's lovely. Yeah.
So yes, all of this, people might say, gosh, these are such different endeavors, musicianship, acupuncture, priesthood, but you really have managed to find where they meet and are integrated and work with one another. Your focus is to be on child and youth formation. And that sounds like that's also been part of your past experience.
Whether it was a church large enough to have youth groups and children's ministry, or smaller churches where we did everything together, I have adored my time with the little ones and the older youth. Last Sunday, my first Sunday with the cathedral, as I was meeting all the parents and children, a 10-month-old baby boy, John, reached out for me to hold him. It just made my day. All the joy of my first Sunday at the cathedral, that topped it all. I find absolute delight with children of all ages, and I'm excited to do this in this new setting with such a wonderful staff and congregation. I'm thrilled.
We're thrilled to have you. Absolutely. I'm curious about acupuncture. I'm a physician by training, and
Yeah.
I practiced for a gazillion years as a pediatric cardiologist and pediatrician. Those are fun times, but it also was a great merging of seeing myself as an instrument
Mhm.
of healing in so many ways. But
Yes.
I'm just wondering if you could, without being too scientific about it, talk about the spiritual aspect of acupuncture.
Oh.
Maybe teach me a bit.
In Eastern medicine, it's based on Taoist philosophy, which holds that The body, mind, and spirit are one. They're not separated out the way they are in Western medicine. In Western medicine, we have a specific doctor for each body part, a separate field of medicine for those with mental struggles, and a separate field for those with spiritual issues, considered very separate and none having an effect on the other. Whereas in Eastern medicine, one directly affects the other. Any suffering on the body level in time will show up in the spirit. Any suffering on the spirit level will manifest in the body. In acupuncture, it's held that the energy that moves through the pathways in the body addresses all levels of that person. Let's say a person is suffering from over worry, overthinking, circular thinking. I will check their digestive system, their stomach will have troubles. If someone is suffering from grief, I will check on their lungs and their skin, and vice versa. If someone shows up with a terrible rash, I will know to ask into, is there a grief process in the mix here? In Eastern medicine, there can't be distress in one area without distress in all areas. So all those areas need to be addressed for the person to heal. I don't consider myself a healer. Jesus was a great healer. I'm blessed to have some tools to help.
You can be a channel of that healing.
If I keep myself clean and clear, I can be a useful instrument.
And to what extent is there actual, maybe with each needle puncture, how does prayer fit into this to kind of?
That's a great question. It's very important that I be clear on my intention with every needle and with every treatment in general. Let's say if I'm treating a certain point, my intention will be to clear this point, to move this energy. The entire treatment is based on how I hope for the energy to shift. At the end of each treatment, if the patient would like me to, I will lay hands on their head and pray for them. If they want me to say spoken prayer, I'm happy to do that. And I'm happy to give blessing also if they want that. Whether they believe in prayer or not, we know that God believes in them and loves them. I pray for every patient, and some will ask for a little bit more. And I always love that too.
Thank you.
So the intention with each needle that you put in is for the highest good of that person.
Yes, whether spoken or not,
Mm-hmm.
our intention is so powerful. If we could just take that little moment before we speak to refine what our hope is for that conversation, what a difference we could make.
That intention is a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking of prayer broadly instead of just words
Yes.
that we say. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What has surprised you most on your journey?
What has surprised me most? I feel like the whole journey has been such a surprise. Being raised to be an artist and musician and to find myself in love with the sciences and to be such an avid learner and to be ordained a priest in Christ's church. In some ways, it feels like home.
Julia, you're a priest at the Cathedral of the Incarnation right now, and you have a practice in acupuncture, and you do some meditation.
I've practiced meditation for 50 years. I've taught for maybe 20.
Julia, thank you very much for being here today and sharing so much of your story with us. It's really inspirational. You've overcome a lot, but you've got so many gifts that you bring to the church and to the world. You're someone that people would do well to emulate.
Thank you. Just to be able to sit with you and chat, it's such a gift to be heard. Thank you.
Mm.
Julia, before you go, we want to give you one more chance. Would you like for our listeners to hear from everything that you've learned.
Grow a garden. What I'd love for people to consider is that each person is marvelously made, unique, with varied little odd bits, and capable in different ways. All of that is God's design and needed in the world and in the church. If you feel you're too unusual to be useful, or feel you can't be your full self, spend your lifetime figuring out how to come to life more fully. Who was it said? The glory of God is the human being come fully alive. Gregory of Nyssa?
That's good advice to follow.
That every bit of you is on purpose and beautiful and necessary.
Thank you. You are wonderful. And thank you for being with us today. John and I also want to thank all who are watching and listening for the gift of your time with us. Until next time, peace and blessings.
Bye-bye.
This episode of Good News has been brought to you by Listening for Clues. For more podcasts, check out our YouTube channel or our website, listeningforclues.com, or just about any audio podcast platform. Be sure to comment, like, or share. Thanks for being with us today.